Okay, abusa breaking news bi aba ɛno ɛne a project ɛde ato yɛ screen no ɛnkyɛn ɛde ama no. Former board chairman of Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund, Professor Ameyaw Akumfi's lawyers withdraw from $2 million Sky Train scandal or case following a misunderstanding with their client. Abusuya asem aba ɛyɛ Professor Ameyaw Akumfi ne lawyers a ɔmo di n'akyi a ɔmo ne di case no ho abobo a case no ɛwɔ court no abusua saa lawyers nyinaa ɔmo withdraw from case no because ɔmo gye to mu trodo sɛ papa no $2 million scandal no papa no sika no deɛ wati aso enti no ɛyɛ likely sɛ papa no ɔbɛkɔ akɔpie mu anaasɛ yɛbɛtumi a prosecute na abusua ɛnyɛ asɛm ketewa koraa enti no lawyers yi ɔmo kyerɛ sɛ ɔmo ntumi ndefende ne criminalities ne bio asisi ano ɔmo agya ne nsensɛn a papa no ɔto n'ani hwɛ baabi a ɛnyɛ yɛ asisi ano aso ayɛ nti we ne breaking news a ɛwɔ wɔ ayɛ project ɛde amam no na yɛn nsɛm mo mbrɛ ne yɛbɛsan so ama makɔ ɛyɛ saa galamsey fighter ɛkɔ so no abusua ɛho nsɛm bebree ɛkɔ so asisi ano yɛn mpanyinfoɔ no bi ɛde ɛho nsɛm bi aba abɛto dwa mo yɛn kɔ na yɛn kɔnkɔ tie nsɛm a ɛkɔ so na breaking news na ankasa no ɛne a project ɛde ato yɛ screen no ɛnkyɛn de amam no unsubscribe ya subscribe like na share ma afoforo nso ɛnsa ntumi ɛnka bi aha ɛyɛ Ghana Politics Avenue so medamase.
Now, let's bring you a bit more in terms of our fight against Galamsey, because Vice President Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman has reaffirmed government resolve to end illegal mining, otherwise known as Galamsey, in forest reserves and in water bodies. She was speaking during an engagement with the Ghanaian community in Belgium as part of her official visit to the Global Gateway Forum in Brussels.
So disturbing. All of us, especially my fellow women, we know what it takes to bring a child into the world. We know sometimes they are differently abled, but where we know that their challenges have been caused by things we can change, it can be even more painful. So it is not something that we take lightly at all. We are working towards banning mining in water bodies. We've been mining gold forever. How come all of a sudden all our waters were polluted? The water sources are normally in our reserve portions. And that's the reason why those areas are reserved forests. Now, when you give that to some who can even will it to his family, you all know what I'm talking about. So it becomes a family property. A bill is being prepared to reverse what we saw and to ensure that the people are moved out of these areas and properly placed.
Let's assess all of this fight following that meeting with government, and there's been quite a lot of action on the front of the fight against Galamsey. Professor Eric Keke Bavari is with the Department of Physics at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. He is the UTAG KNUSC president and former UTAG national secretary as well. Prof, appreciate you joining us this afternoon. You've watched the space for quite a while. In terms of what it is that we're seeing play out in the fight against Galamsey, what is your assessment based on what it is that we're learning of, particularly from the government right now?
Thank you very much, Awena, and your listeners or viewers. Well, for me, there's only one metric for the assessment, if you ask me, and that if whatever interventions the administration is putting in place, the outcome is to see gradual progression in improvement of the stability of the waters. And again, to see maybe those trenches and then the holes and the pits are being covered. So far in the narration that have been going on, we've not heard anybody even saying, how are they going to reclaim the land? The land reclamation bit is quiet. The water is still the same. So, well, efforts are being made, but the effort, because the stability remains as it is, the conclusion is obvious.
But there are quite a number of legs in relation to this fight, and you've mentioned one, which is the water turbidity levels. Then there is the treatment and removal of the heavy metals from the water as well as reclamation, even before we go into the main conversation of tackling persons who are still entering these forest reserves. On the priority list, which one should we be investing a lot more money into right now? We know that there's NIMOS, which is seeking to be in the forest reserves, amongst many other things. But there are those who make the argument that look at the water and the poisoning of our food as well.
Thank you. But you need life to pursue any agenda, right? You need life and you need good health as well. So for me, if you ask me on a priority list, every one of them is a priority. So we can concurrently be doing them. Concurrently, we can be doing all of them. We don't need to finish, you call it Syria. You don't have to do Syria fighting. You can do them parallel. Parallel means that whilst you are fighting the water, doing the so-called utilization or whatever, you are also be claiming the land. You are also fighting the people who are also doing it. So you cannot do it. If you try to solve it one after the other, I doubt you can't finish. So you must do them concurrently. That's from my view. That's how I see the fight should be. You have to attack all the forces concurrently.
And concurrently, are we seeing that equal attention, particularly being paid to the poison of the food and the treatment of the water as well? Because in all of the presentations we've got, yes, there's been in the last few weeks following that meeting between government and CSOs, a mention of what is to be done to begin to remove the heavy metals, but we haven't gotten specifics, details, timelines as to when this can be done.
Exactly, you just pointed out, we don't have, it's just in the conversation phase. We are only just talking and discussing, but I don't think there's any action plan. And how it is being done, and how will it be done, and what are the KPIs, what's the timelines. These things, I don't think they are part of the conversation now. But now, they are only just even discussing. We didn't even find the definition of the word to use. Okay, so if you are even discussing to find how to define it, then it means you've not just started at all. We are far, far below at the tail end of the normal distribution.
Right. Prof, I thank you. I thank you for speaking to us this afternoon. That's Prof. Eric Bavari speaking to us this afternoon. We're staying on the subject of Galamsey because we know that though government has called for a ban on all other task force groups, the National Concerned Small-Scale Miners Association, Ghana's anti-Galamsey task force, over the weekend stormed the Nyamedomso camp near Mankraso in the Ahafuano Southwest district of the Ashanti region to clamp down on illegal mining activities along the Mankran River. The operation forms part of the group's ongoing commitment to what they say is to promote responsible and legal small-scale mining while supporting the government's nationwide efforts to eradicate illegal mining on river bodies that continues to tarnish the image of small-scale miners. But is this getting the all clear from NIMOS? Let's speak to Pakwesi Shandov, who speaks for the Lands and Natural Resources Ministry as well as NIMOS for a bit on this particular subject matter. Pakwesi, thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. A counter tax force, if we can call them that, by these small-scale miners. Is NIMOS aware of this to start off with, and what do you make of this, what they say is protecting and saving the image of small-scale miners?
Well, indeed, we are aware of this particular development. It is not new to us at all, in the sense that they launched and outdoored their operations, I think some weeks ago, and so for us, it is not a recent development. We do not want to have a duplicitous outfit, an outfit that essentially is mirroring what NIMOS is already doing. And so when they set out, we reached out to them for a conversation on how possibly we could collaborate, or they could rather collaborate with us. Because fundamentally, we understand the essence of their operation, their motive, and the thrust of their objective. It is all towards the collective goal of dealing with the menace of illegal mining. But one of the principal factors or reasons that has consistently militated against the fight against illegal mining is when you have too many splinter groups all but doing the same thing. And that is why we created NIMOS to serve as an umbrella outfit. So for the fact that now there is another body, entity doing, embarking on an exercise which regardless is commendable, you still wouldn't want such operations to fester as much. So we are in talks with them on how possibly all of us can align on one path and fight the menace of illegal mining together.
Talks, because some say this is in direct contravention of what the president told civil society groups and journalists some weeks ago, that all other task force cease to exist. Everything in relation to the fight against Galamsey must be routed through NIMOS because there were allegations of extortion and the likes. Shouldn't the recognized group NIMOS, which is expected to be in these forests to fight the activities of Galamsey, be asking them, stop what it is that you're doing and provide us the intel to deal with activities of illegal mining?
So first of all, the National Association of Small-Scale Miners is a private outfit. It's a private organization. I am not sure the extent to which anybody may perhaps issue an order for them to stop their private operations, especially when they indicate that it is a peer review mechanism they themselves have rolled out as part of their operational structures to ensure sanity within their space. And so you have to deal with the issue tactfully. And so that is why, in as much as perhaps we could just call the shot and say, hold it right there, we are exploring the option of diplomacy, interacting with them, being able to understand the rationale. Indeed, the rationale is actually very clear. All they want to do is to, as it were, help in the fight against illegal mining, which of course is our underlying objective already. And so the conversations have begun. Just last week, for example, I had the opportunity to engage the president of the association quite extensively on the subject matter. And so very soon there will be closure on it so that it would not appear as though there are two separate outfits doing, different things or even the same thing. Indeed, like the president said, all the power is vested in NIMOS, and I'm sure very soon this issue that is beginning to look like a hurdle would be promptly and properly addressed.
Right, quick one, Pakwesi, on an account on Twitter, I've chanced upon it, raising concerns specifically about encroaching of some forest areas within his village. Shared pictures, is drawing the attention of the Lands and Natural Resources Ministry, the police, and the others, that illegal miners are seeking to enter forest reserve, protected forest reserves, and mine. Has that come to your attention? And if others are witnessing such encroachment, how do they reach out and ensure that these illegal miners do not take advantage of their powerlessness, go into the forest, and destroy their livelihoods, which is farming as well?
So on a daily basis, we receive tons of information such as this. Every day there is a grievance that is coming from somewhere across the country. And so this one adds up to that huge toll of grievances and concerns that we have been receiving all the while. The issue, however, is that NIMOS's operations and deployments are intelligence-led. And so the fact that it is notified of a development does not mean immediately NIMOS would deploy troops there. No, because sometimes the information that we receive, we realize that they are false alerts. Some of them are facades. Other ones are also distractions that actually are intelligently designed to sway us from the real locations where illegal mining is happening. So this particular development, for example, it is one that has been noted, but like I've briefly explained, when a development of this nature comes to our attention, the intelligence team would have to immediately review and ascertain the veracity of the concern before they're receiving the conversation about a deployment. So we have a list of, issues like this that have come. Some I do not want to say, but actually some are even self-inflicted. Some are staged. Some are huge distractions and all of that.
Right.
But there is there is a line that anybody who has such a concern can obviously call through to make the information available. When we receive it, we'll review and take appropriate action. With your permission, I'll go ahead and mention it: 030-398-2151. 030-398-2151. That is the official NIMOS line.
Numbers to which they can reach out. I just have one extra concern as to the review time period. And I understand that some could be distractions to throw you off so others could continue in their illicit activity. But there's a concern that in the review of such notices, how soon do you respond to it? Because by the time some will argue you'll be done reviewing, some of the machines would have entered the earth and begun to dig up before possibly you get to these locations. How swift is it of a response to ensure that we're not seeing that by the time you respond, environments have been destroyed?
This is a very valid concern, the speed to market. Indeed, when we receive it, we have to promptly respond and address the issue. But the momentary challenge that we are facing here is that, as we speak, we have not done the permanent deployment of the NIMOS task forces to the respective hotspots. Indeed, if we had done that, then it would have just been a matter of prompting the task force that has been deployed in the specific hotspots that we have already designated in our books. That would soon be done. But up until that is done, of course, there will be a brief, reasonable administrative delay with, reviewing of the information that comes through and all of that. But that should be cleared very soon, because like the Sector Minister, Emmanuel Akuffo, mentioned on your platform over the weekend, the map-out plan for the deployment has been concluded. It's just a few I's that have to be dotted, and in a matter of days, we'll do the full deployment. Once we do the full deployment, now we know that there are task forces stationed at every hotspot. So when the information comes, it's just a click away, you notify them, and then they move into action.
Right then, Pakwesi, thank you very much for speaking to us. Pakwesi Shandor speaks for the Lands and Natural Resources Ministry and as well, NIMOS.
Now, only 10 out of 63 water treatment plants across the country are currently safe from the impact of illegal mining. That's according to the Chief Manager for Corporate Planning, Monitoring and Evaluation at the Ghana Water Company Limited, Michael Teria Kluche. He revealed this in an interview on TV3's New Day with Roland Walker.
Ones that have not been affected so far are the Mount treatment plants and the Volta regional treatment plants. Volta region, we have about 5 treatment plants over there. More is also about, within the plant itself, we have more, about 5 also there. So in all, 10 out of about 50-something is what is safe now as far as pollution is concerned. The rest, from Wejam all the way to Western region, to Ashanti, to upper regions and northern regions and all that, all of them are having their fair share of pollution.
So you have 86. How many boreholes? 20 what boreholes? Please help me do that.
23
okay.
Of them are boreholes.
So when you do the deduction, you're going to have 63. 63
yes.
are the water treatment plants. Is that not, or systems?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you are saying that 63, it's only 10 that you can clearly say that on the operational side,
yes,
the water that is being pumped out of, or the water you're getting into your plant to pump out to residents are clean. Only 10 out of that 63. Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
But that's 90% of the country, right?
That is how disastrous we are. We are having problems, and when we talk about it, it's not as if we are exaggerating.
Subject of Galamsey, because organized labor is set to begin negotiations for the 2026 base pay. This year, government granted 10% increase for public sector workers on the single spine salary structure. With the 2026 budget yet to be presented to Parliament, government is expected to speed up the negotiations. Currently, discussions on the minimum wage has begun, but the tripartite committee has not agreed on a percentage just as yet. Let's get a bit more from our Labour Affairs correspondent, Daniel Poku, who's joining us in studio right now. And Daniel, 10% last year. Yeah, Labour was not happy, but they had to take the president to be present for that agreement to come off.
Right.
What is the target they are looking at, considering that inflation has come down this year, the CD has performed appreciably against the US dollar? Does that calm them in terms of the percentage they are looking for?
Right, well, Eric, when you leave organized labor to engage in these figures, actually they will present 100% figure to you. I do recall some years back, they presented 65 to 75%. But this time around, unfortunately, labor has not met. Organized labor, they have not had their first meeting. And the only meeting that has taken place, just one or two, has to do with negotiations on the minimum wage.
Professor Ameyaw Akumfi, the lawyers and Omojano and Sinsema and ye asam ketu akra. Ebedamase, some of Japan Kokutis are in some way edimai. Aha, Ghana Politics Avenue. And don't forget to click on the notification bell, send any updates be a drop piano. Once a bit to me, Akabi, Bedamase.